Hello and welcome back to the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship, coming to you live from Fredericton, New Brunswick. My name is Sarah Carlson, and the talented and friendly guy next to me, ladies and gentlemen, Dean Gemmell.
Thanks for that, Sarah. Happy to be here.
Tonight's featured game is in the B group between USA and Austria. Of course, mixed doubles curling championship, the world's, is 27 teams divided into 3 groups. See the standings right here. Austria on top, 4 wins and 1 loss. Joined by the Czech Republic on those standings. USA a bit further down on 2 and 2, certainly looking to improve that record here today.
And on sheet E, curling the Red Rocks is Denmark versus curling the Yellow Rocks, Japan.
For the USA, we have the husband-wife combination of Peter Stolt and Maureen Stolt, and they are coached by Lenita Delaney. They're out of Minnesota.
For the Austrians, we have Christian Roth and Claudia Toth, or the Roth and Toth combination, as Dean likes to call them. They are coached by Heinz Roth.
Stone colors, USA will throw red and Austria will throw yellow. USA captured last rock with the draw to the hammer. Captured the hammer with the draw to the button. They were closest, just as in traditional curling. Last rock is determined by 1 shot each. Closest to the button secures last rock. Mixed doubles, of course, is a little bit different than traditional curling, or a lot different. Understandably, it's called doubles, so it's played in teams of 2 players instead of 4, 1 male, 1 female. You're not allowed an alternate in mixed doubles. Each team has 6 stones each, but 1 rock for each team is positioned in advance of play. The team with last stone places theirs biting the back of the button. The team without last stone places theirs as a centerline guard. Player 1 delivers the 1st stone and the 5th stone of the end. Player 2 delivers the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th stones of the end. That can change throughout a game, and the games are 8 ends, with each team receiving 46 minutes of playing time. As we watch this game get underway with Maureen Stolt playing 1-5, that position, she's throwing her first one here, trying to draw it freeze down to the rock at the back of the button, and it looks like she's a bit heavy.
Yeah, so we're going to see if Austria can play a really key come around, if they could find top 8 foot here. That's what Claudia was talking about before the game. They thought that was going to be the key. They're not used to playing on ice as fast as the one that we have in Fredericton right now, so they are just keeping working on finding that draw weight to the top 8 foot, of course, to be able to control the ends from the front of the house.
Claudia lives in Kitzbühel and does her curling there.
Yeah, well,
or does her curling in? Sorry, go ahead, Sarah. You fix that up.
While Christian actually plays in Switzerland and in a Swiss men's team. He is Austrian though, so he plays for Austria and will make the 6-hour drive, as he did to come qualify with Claudia to make it here.
They did have a play down for this title. They went undefeated with, what was it, 8 teams, they said?
I think it was 7.
7 teams, and they were undefeated to secure their spot in this World Championship. Here's Peter Stolt. Peter's from Minnesota. Curls out of the St. Paul Curling Club.
Of course, the Austrians are the previous bronze medalists from last year in Erzurum, Turkey.
Last season, they beat the American team of Brady and Kristen Clark for the bronze medal.
So they will have good feelings about playing USA.
Indeed they will. And since I know a number of Americans may be listening to this webcast, I do want to mention the events in Boston and wish all the best to the people in Boston. I know a number of good people and great curlers there, and they're going through a tough time. But they're tough, smart people in Boston, and they'll get through that. So my thoughts are with the people there. Christian Roth.
I'm just trying to tap the red down just played by Peter Stolt.
Certainly frees it up, moves the stationary stone. That's the one with the X. They mark the stationary stones with an X, and head ice technician here, Jamie Barassa, is actually moving those around so that that the stones get equal wear. So the ones that are stationary will change from draw to draw and game to game. Peter Stolt in the hack.
Are they drawing or guarding this, Dean?
I think they're drawing.
Yeah, they have shot stone behind the center guard. Gonna lock another one on there to make it a little bit more difficult.
And I actually endorse the draw here. I think it's too early to be guarding.
Yeah, there's a lot of yellow in the house.
Don't want to move that one too far, but it is locked on that back yellow now, so at least that rock that he pushed it onto may not come into play for Austria as a counter.
Well, you saw the amount of curling behind the guard there, so if Christian Roth can follow, he could push that down to set 3.
Yeah, it's not an enviable situation for the Americans right now with their red stone with nothing behind it, and can easily be moved here, I think. I asked Christian Roth, he says he's not a skip, so he doesn't skip in men's play. And he throws the 2, 3, 4 stones in this lineup. The Americans are one of the teams that has changed their lineup from end to end. In our previous contest today, we saw the Norwegians debate the switch. That duo debate the switch before the 8th end and then decide not to.
No, it could maybe be if you want a change of momentum in some kind, you can switch around. Or if you just feel like you've got one player that's making a certain type of shot, you could have a little swap.
You could have a little swap. I should mention that Peter and Maureen, they play out of the St. Paul Curling Club in St. Paul, Minnesota. That's a great club, 8 sheets, well over 1,000 members, but they have a new club, exciting news for curling, and they have a new club in this Twin Cities area in Blaine, Minnesota, the Four Seasons Club. It's open year-round. And the Stoltz also play there. It's good news for curling in the United States to have a new facility like that. John Benton, former U.S. Olympian in curling, is the general manager of that club.
And this is not going to help USA, even though we like the peel in a lot of situations. When you don't have hammer and your opponents are sitting 3, you might not want to peel the center guard.
We don't like it here, no.
Question is, where is Austria going to go?
So I think I might have said at the start of this webcast that USA had won the hammer, but indeed it's Austria who has the hammer, as we know from the way this end is going.
Well, it's no secret that you are American, Dean, and maybe...
I thought I could tip the scales, tip things our way there. No, I did not. I think that's what the graphic showed. So... But the Americans are in trouble here, and yes, peeling out that guard is definitely not a good idea when you're at this point. I mean, that would have been a good play for the Austrians, and now Austria is going to bring another one in here. There should be some sort of double or triple available here.
And this is exactly what Claudia was talking about before the game. They've been struggling with putting their stones top 12, top 8 foot. They tend to be a little bit deep, and that is also the case with Christian's stone there.
So here's a big shot for Maureen Stolt in the very first end. She is facing 3. They're going to play the hit. I think they can make the double. If they make the double and they can sit right in front of this wall of granite, certainly make it challenging for Claudia Toth on her last stone. It's a fairly flat double. I think they are playing this with the in turn. I might like this with the out turn.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and they're fairly close together, so with the out turn, this would look like a pretty straightforward shot.
really curling. And that's going to leave the Austrians with a draw for 4. A draw for 4 into a yellow mitt.
They are also looking at the little tap for
5. It doesn't actually look all that hard. They don't have to move that red one very far. It's certainly worth a shot, I think, because I think even if you miss it, you're going to wind up with 4. May as well try it. Like Claudia's in command of the house on her shot here.
Well, it's quite nice to be able to call your own shot and be really comfortable with what you're going to play.
Claudia started curling in 1994. She's a marketing manager for Motel One Group. Yeah, this is actually fairly straightforward, anywhere on the high side. And she will count 5.
So quite a lot of weight on this one.
Yeah,
if you want to trust Claudia.
She's indicating that it's strong.
If she hits it where she wants to hit it, though, it might not matter.
And, well, she was just pushed the other one far enough to limit themselves to 4. Just a little bit more weight. Certainly worth a try. The draw would have been for 4 too, so may as well try that for 5. Just missed it. And Austria is out to an early 4-0 lead after one end of play.
Yeah, a big score, and in the normal curling game, it would mean that the game is pretty much in control maybe from the start, but we've seen some other results in mixed doubles, haven't we?
Yeah, just earlier today we saw Norway jump out to a 3-0 lead and then hold a 4-1 lead through 3 ends, and then eventually lose 9-6, 9-7 in an extra end against Sweden. So
this time it's Austria and Claudia taught to start off the second end, and with this really important first freeze. You saw in the first end how much you can get punished for not making this shot. This one looks like it's got really good line.
over curling just a bit and leaving an opportunity for the Americans to either freeze into that pocket or even move that yellow stone. They're going to freeze into the pocket.
Yeah, that would create a very good angle for USA.
Peter Stoll calling hard for line. It does look like it's tight to the guard. We don't mind the chap on the guard here. You don't mind ticking the guard, but you don't want to just leave them staggered. You want to make sure your shooter rolls away when you do that. And now Austria has a chance to apply some more pressure here early. That release looked like it might have been a little soft. Rock started curling early.
Yeah, we've been talking about that. This type of ice is fairly new to a lot of the players. If you haven't been at this champion level before, you might not be used to the amount of rotation that you need to put on the stones out here.
And it's very fast. It's a fast surface, and sometimes people, when you slide out too fast and you try try to squash a rock a little bit, take some weight off it, it's easy to end up with a soft release. That didn't look like a soft release, but it does look like a wrecked.
Wrecked.
Wrecked, yes.
Racked.
Or wrecked, racked, or in Swedish we would say...
Go Egard.
There we go.
So this shot might be even easier for USA now, and Peter Stolt to come down to that yellow and create an angle.
The Austrians did leave the red-yellow in a position where they could easily be run in later. The yellow could be run in if play moves a little bit over to that side behind the guard. Peter Stoltz first rock at the end on its way. It's not tight to the guard. It should finish here though.
No, he will go Egard or rack too. And we're seeing a bit of a wall build up here.
So he wrecked on the corner guard. Everybody else had been wrecking on that center guard. Claudia Tot calling for the same shot. This freeze that looks pretty juicy if someone can make it.
Yeah, the first one to go there will definitely have the upper hand. The Austrians prepared for this event by playing a mixed double bonspiel in Budapest.
It was on that yellow guard for a long time, but now it's finishing. Might be just a little bit short. Certainly a rock that can be used though.
Yeah, and it blocks off the same draw for USA, so they need to be a bit more creative now.
Back four.
Have you heard of many mixed doubles tournaments in Europe? Do they have many?
There are a couple. I know that there's one in Glasgow and there's the one in Budapest. And there might be a couple more. I'm not 100% up to speed.
We do have one in the United States, well, more than one I'm sure, but there's one at the Broomstones Club in Boston. Mentioned the Boston curling community. And they have one there that has been successful.
I think it is catching on to a lot of the clubs. You were talking about the fact that it's maybe easier to squeeze into a tight schedule since the games are faster. But I think it's quite a nice Friday evening activity that goes on in some of the clubs, even back in Sweden.
That's what Canada's Jim Waite was suggesting. It could be where teams could play even shorter versions of this, 4 or 6 ends, come in, have a bite to eat and a drink, and then go back and play another game. So you might play a couple different teams in the same evening. This is over curling, I'm afraid. And the Americans are struggling right now.
Yeah, I think that was even, must have been really short in weight.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was going to throw that with some more weight to really move things around. But I guess he was, because they were shot, perhaps he was, I think they're shot. It's close.
Not 100% sure.
Yeah, actually, it's really close, isn't it? But he might have just wanted to position another one in there and not disturb the one that is at least second shot right now. But he didn't want to over curl there. The Americans really want to, at this point, down 4, in trouble in this end. They really want to make sure that on their next one they at least give themselves a chance to score a single and keep this game within reach. Christian Tot. Told me his Swiss team was 5th in the Swiss League. His men's team.
Yeah, and this might be a good thing. He's not a skip, he's a sweeper, and he likes to sweep, which definitely will give you an upper hand in mixed doubles.
He's certainly quick after the rock, and it does make a difference. Well, he changes the shot for the Americans. There's not a shot here that doesn't come with fair amount of risk if they really want to remove that yellow.
No, well, they could slash it, but you could also miss that and lose your own.
And they have to actually hit that pretty thin to make this slash and not put it on your own.
Half a rock. We might lose both of them. That hole's like a third of a rock wide. It's got to be going sideways. We could try to nose this and hope we have a play. And if we roll under, if we get really lucky, we'll set up something with that. But you like that?
Unfortunately, Maureen Stoll is not wearing a mic. She's a little equipment problem, so she's not wearing a mic.
Board or down?
So are they nosing or rolling in on this one? What's that going to leave them?
Yeah, I don't know. A nose is a particularly good idea because that would leave, the Austrians might just might try the double themselves then and really make it tough for the Americans to score. But it seems like they're trying to roll a little bit under. I don't know. Maybe roll far enough that they have hope for a half shot and something on their last, but I'm not entirely sure how this will help them.
Good weight. 10.5.
It's going to be a nose hit. Roll about an eighth of a rock over.
How brave are Austria?
Would be quite brave to try that double because if you ever slash it onto the yellow, you're giving at least 3 back and maybe 4.
So being sensible here, going with a little strategy and guarding.
Shockingly, the Austrians are being sensible. Maybe that's why they have a bronze medal.
Maybe that's why.
Last year.
I'm not sure shockingly would be the word to use, actually.
Probably not.
They sure seem like sensible people to me.
Yes, there was some sarcasm in that shockingly.
Oh, well,
They
you
seem
know.
like a sensible pair, and they were played well enough last year to capture the bronze medal, so I think they've seen scenarios such as this before, and they've probably seen teams try that shot before and slash it in and give up 3 or 4.
Experience counts for a lot here at this mixed doubles World Curling Championship. Claudia Todt is demonstrating that right here.
Is he going to line it up? Oh my goodness, did it? Oh, very close. I think it lined it up enough that you would catch the yellow, wouldn't you? I think so. I don't see what else they have. Claudia's covering her mouth as if she's realizes what she's done here. And
it might only be for 2 though, but still.
Still, it's a bit of a gift.
Try to stay on the outside. Just, I think just board weight would be the best. Solid board.
Solid board would keep your shooter right there.
Would you play this with board, Sarah?
I'm not sure. I would maybe be tempted to throw more, but if they hit it right, they will have both reds staying just right in the forefoot in the middle. Make sure that they score 2.
I might be tempted to throw it more with more than board, especially in this format where you don't have sweeping. It doesn't matter where she hits this, I don't think, though. It's going to do that. That's the advantage of board, I guess, though. She's going to stick around for at least 1, I think.
1 red?
Yep, 1 red, 1 point for USA.
1 red.
And actually, the way that came off, I'd have to say the board was probably a smart call because if she'd thrown more, I think it's going to come off that way no matter how you hit it. If they'd thrown more, of course, they might have squeezed the yellow out further if they'd thrown more.
Well, if they would have hit it a little bit more on the right-hand side, then maybe they would have gotten more drag onto the yellow, but
Yeah. And
We will never know.
with more weight, they could have squirted the yellow right out the side and maybe got 2.
Well, after 2 rounds, it's a 4-1 lead for Austria. And we also have a couple of other games going on. Would you want to tell us the score there?
You certainly can. Over on sheet E, we have Denmark playing Japan, and Denmark is out to a 1-0 lead. Japan holds the hammer in the second end. On sheet D, we have Slovakia versus Austria. Slovenia.
And Australia?
So Slovenia against Australia. Yes, Austria is the game we're featuring. So it's Slovenia versus Australia. And Slovenia out to a quick 4-0 lead. Australia has the hammer playing the second end. And on sheet A, we have France against New Zealand. And New Zealand is up 1-0. Playing the second end, France has the hammer.
Peter Stolt started curling in '92. 34 years old. And they have now switched around, so he's going to throw the bun position.
He's throwing the 1-5, leaving his wife Maureen with the burger, the 2-3-4.
And he sure will make a nice shot right there. Austria going to follow down the same side. They are sticking with their positions. And Austria and Claudia taught just want to freeze to the inside of the red. Believes that the weight is there.
In the same way that lead in traditional curling is so specialized, such a specialized position, the 1-5 in this is similar. You almost play pretty much the same shot all the time on your first, usually, unless we're playing the tick.
And then your last shot could be just about anything.
Yes, the fifth could be anything. The fifth shot could be just about anything. So that's how it's different than lead, but you will have one shot that's pretty much the same all the time.
And it's such an important shot. Making that first freeze or even just making it top 4 foot is definitely going to put the pressure right under your opponent.
Now Maureen Stolt will throw 2-3-4. She's 33 years old and started curling in 1992. Born actually in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Raised in the United States.
Back out.
Just watching her stone come down here. Will push yellows that they're sitting 2, but leaves her shooter in a pretty usable spot.
Seems as though they're going to discuss this. Maybe we can listen in and see what we can make of it.
Dass man es später so rauskriegen. Aber gefährlich ist er trotzdem. Wir am letzten Stein. Wir sind 3 Steine vorne.
Sensible as they are,
Eine Guard zu legen ist schwierig. Wenn die Guard
We
nicht
know
perfekt
that.
davor liegt, dann spielen wir mit dem nächsten raus.
Claudia thinking they're going to play the scoreboard. They are 3 up and they have the last stone, so
Willst du lieber Corner freezen?
I'd certainly be tempted just to peel here.
Mach mal auf.
yeah, I
weißt du
think
so?
it's the shot that Claudia is opting for. They were also discussing a corner freeze.
I must admit, all I got out of that conversation was something about Liechtenstein, so I'm not sure how helpful it's going to be their mics to me. But I could tell from the way they were pointing that this was the shot she liked, and it's the shot I like. Christian Rott, 27, started curling in 2003. So a relatively new curler, actually,
10 years.
compared to I think that's actually a good age to start curling. I think we often, some of our sometimes we're in such a rush to start kids curling that it's a difficult game if you're an active, somewhat hyper 10 or 11-year-old. So maybe a little earlier than 17 though, but is good. But I don't know how it can be tough to convince an 8 or 9-year-old that curling is the great game that it is. And when they get a little older, then they certainly realize it.
Well, you want to be big enough so that you're able to actually move the stone forward.
That helps.
So quite an open house here now, and I think it's in favor Austria, even though USA can get rid of some yellow here. Austria with 3 points up and hammer. They don't need to get too cute with this end.
Peter Stoll calling for sweeping early again, so they've been, I think, judging from these sweeping calls, I'd say they've been tight most of the time.
And also judging by where that stone ended up. Seems like the case. Austria still sitting 2.
Yeah, they're sitting 2, and now they could make a play on that red to lie 3 easily. And there's really, they roll far enough away. Not really an easy double for the Americans.
No, that would certainly leave them looking good of scoring a deuce.
I think I'd play the hit now. I don't know why you would peel the guard and then not play a hit on that red. Try to roll wide. Freeze here isn't a terrible call, of course. It's one of 2 calls you can make. But it seems to me that if you are able to make a hit and roll on that red, just touching the button and roll over to the 8-foot, you have a easy 3 or 2 at the worst.
Yeah, well, as long as you don't set up a triple right here, the deuce should still be pretty straightforward for Austria. Definitely not looking short here, Christian Roth.
And there will be a double there. Maybe.
Right in the nose.
Yeah, that's probably actually the better call. Hit that yellow in the nose and leave it there. And again, that's a shot they might not have if... I guess they would still have this shot even if you hit and rolled over, but... They can leave this one right there. It will be tough to remove because there'll be a rock behind it and rocks in either direction. Need the nose hit.
No. No.
So tight on her in turn. Out turn's looking a lot better. She will roll out. Oh, and actually leave 2 yellows. But they are in a position where they could be doubled away. And now Austria is going to make a play on that red that you wanted to hit earlier.
Yeah, I think now certainly wouldn't want to draw something in there and create a pocket. So you definitely want to roll away here too. It's important to not just nose this, but to roll at least into the 8-foot. I think the wider you can roll, the better. If you could roll till you're just biting the 8-foot would be great.
And Christian asking for more ice, so maybe he heard you.
Early call of whoa, almost before he let it go. So I don't think he was tight to the rim's getting better though, obviously. In fact, they actually left it. They need to sweep that a little bit earlier. As there is a double here now.
I don't know if we can get all 3. We can try to get, if we could get these 2 and come to there, it'd be real good. Which way you like coming at it? What kind of weight? Peel might be too much if we spin. Yeah. Just come this way.
Marine likes it with
I
normal
don't know,
weight.
I don't like this path.
Would you like it with more?
See the point about spinning out and leaving them an easy draw for
So we
2.
have
Might be nice to leave your
fairly
shooter
thin.
around.
Like a third to a quarter. Yeah, we flop on top, it's okay.
Flop on top is okay. Do you think if you played on the other side and you got the flop on top, you would end up in a position where it's more difficult for Austria to remove your stone?
With the other turn?
With the other turn or on the left-hand stone?
Oh, right, on the left-hand stone. That's true.
You just kind of end up in between those two. It might be hard to squeeze it out.
And the roll would certainly make it at least raise the possibility of only giving up 1 or even maybe stealing if you get truly fortunate. But double is probably going to result in a deuce for Austria. Oh, not the in-between. Unlucky.
Yeah, there's the kind of, if you were in between, if you would try to roll the other way, it wouldn't have been a gap. Now, Claudia Todt has a nose hit for 3. That would give them a 7-1 lead.
And it's pretty tough to imagine how they don't get at least 2 with this. Make contact on this anywhere and you're probably scoring 2. And the Americans will have to battle to get back into this. Cheers for a shot on the adjacent sheet by New Zealand.
Yeah, Natalie Campbell just made a double tap to sit 3. As Claudia Todt needs to make contact with the red to score 3. And she will.
There it is.
7-1 lead after 3 ends for Austria. It's got to feel comforting for them right now.
And some high fives or mid fives exchanged.
The body language of Maureen Stolt isn't as encouraging.
No, it rarely is when you're down 7-1. Difficult to fake it.
Yep. Some high fives over there too, though, and ready to go again. It is mixed doubles curling. We've seen more shocking things happen.
We have. We have seen a team down 6-1, score 5. And that was as late as the 6th end.
And win the 9-6.
No, that Hungary and Switzerland.
All right, well.
The Swiss did hang on to win, but they were fully in control of that game until the 6th end and before they gave up a 5.
So what we're trying to say is hang in there, USA. It's not over.
Yes, well, as they enter the 4th end, they're down 7-1. But they're already lying 1 as the end begins.
It's always a good thing, having shot stone.
Working this hard to get it by. That's going to over curl. Seen a fair amount of that today. Rocks tight to the centerline guard and then over curling, even with good weight.
Yeah, you really don't need to be tight to the guard on this type of ice. But she's definitely found some good weight.
And the Stoltz of the United States are electing to go with the out turn here. Try to get to the inside of that yellow.
Set up some good angles, making sure the yellow comes past the red if USA or if Austria makes a play at it.
Peter Stoll indicating that they have enough room. Said they've got to go on this a little bit though. It will finish. Want it to cross that yellow just a tiny bit more. A good position. Would have been nice if it curled over another half a rock, but Certainly in a position that the Americans can benefit from. Christian Tot and his first. Christian Roth, yes, Claudia Tot. Thank you.
You have become more Austrian with the way you say it, though.
Working so hard at that.
And now sitting 2 with that little tap.
So the Americans are going to try to run their stone that Maureen Stolt placed in the 8-foot, trying to run that straight back. Should make the double. Could make the double and sit 3. Again, it looks like it might have been a... Oh, they're off it now. Close.
And leaves
I don't even
3 red hanging around.
3 red well spread out.
Really good result.
And the yellow stone pushed into the 12-foot. That was the yellow that was shot rock. This is the scenario where we see teams with last rock, with last stone, score big ends when the rocks are spread out well.
Yeah, so let's see the upweight ability of Christian Roth. He would like to make a double here.
His teammate begging it to curl.
For a reason.
Now a good opportunity for the Americans. I'd like to see them go behind that centerline guard.
And if you're watching and you would like to see them do that or somewhere else, something else, or even just ask a question about the game, use our Twitter hashtag WMDCC2013. Dean has got all the answers today. In all the languages, I bet.
Exactly. I will endeavor to answer what I can.
Need to stay in front of the tee line here to really put some pressure back on Austria and also get back in the game. Peter Stolt, which is the Swedish word for proud. So proud Americans.
Peter Proud.
Peter Proud.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that. This looks good though. Certainly don't want it deep though. Just bite the forefoot would be great. That's a great shot. Good execution there by Peter Stolt. You can be proud about that one. And it seems they forced the Austrians into playing a freeze here. That freeze is available, but it's certainly not an easy one. And
he needs to make this. He needs to make this. He certainly don't want to make the 4 come into play.
Jeff Hannon from the United States has asked me what the answer was to taking out your own stone. You can't remove any stones, even your own.
No, they will just be replaced.
So I guess that would prevent a team from removing the place stone as well, is probably the logic behind that rule, which is sound logic for the type of game that is developing with mixed doubles.
Some good play by Christian Roth. USA still sitting 2, and well, it's kind of dangerous for them to try and make a play on that yellow.
I think they have to though. It's 7/8 available, and I think it'll curl up enough if they can get to nose of it. And considering the score, if they can get to nose and or just a hair.
I mean, it's obviously more risky, but back line. You like going for it? I mean, we could guard too. We'd have to guard this. It's gonna be open there, so. I think we go for it.
I'd suggest boldness here.
The game needs it, and it always makes for good TV.
It does. It helps us. And when you're down 7-1.
No harm in being a little bold.
Yes. So they're going to play this with back line is what Peter suggested. I think you can see 7/8 of it. And if it, maybe a little less than that, a thick 3/4 maybe. And he could tickle the back red, and with this kind of weight, he won't push it out. Big shot here to get back in the game.
Maybe half, back line half.
Real poker face out of his hand, Peter Stoll. I'm never quite sure exactly how well he's thrown it.
Seems to be coming down quite nicely
Close
here.
finish, just a bit.
Hard.
Oh, really nice.
Go hard on that. They're going to sit 3.
They're going to sit 3, and I'm not even sure that the double is there for Austria. It might just jam on the back yellow.
Not a real comfortable shot for Austria to play, except maybe that freeze to the one on the back just to take away the end. Or maybe a hit and roll on the one on the back, hit and roll under the staggered reds. Well, you can't roll under, actually, the way that is. So it's a freeze to the back could take away, could make the end difficult, but you certainly, or this slash double.
Yeah, Claudia thinks she's going to play if she can see enough of it from the hack, but still got to be worried about the fact that it might stick. If she rolls out and this sticks, they're definitely losing a big house.
Well, I think you make the slash with about 3/4, so they're gonna play the freeze. Takes a little bit of a different mindset in this game too, because you'd be really sort of frustrated if you had to freeze in this situation in traditional curling. But you have to remind yourself in mixed doubles that it's a scenario that's, while not preferred, one that can happen fairly easily.
And if you're going to be in trouble, you might as well be in trouble when you're up 6 points.
That's certainly true.
Well, this one is hanging really
And
wide.
it's really out there at this point. Now, when we practiced last night, when we threw in the ice last night, it seemed to me that when you got out this wide, it didn't finish, but this looks like it will finish. Still has some finishing to do, though. Oh, they're on it now. Trying to get it in there at least for third shot, and they don't. Well, it's
Looks
third
like
shot.
it's third.
Yeah.
But might not have curled enough, so USA might have a shot for 4.
You know,
I think they definitely do.
shot for 4 is definitely available.
What do you like? We can play whatever.
If you really needed it, would you care for
If you
that
like
triple?
Normal, we could play that.
If I
Or you
really
can just
needed it.
tap it.
I think they should be happy with a 4
Like
here,
board?
Yeah, definitely.
though. The 4 gets them right back in the game.
Board you like?
A lot of discussion about what kind of weight to throw here. And I don't like that they're doing it from each end. I think
What do you
they
like
should have.
throwing?
I think they should have decided before Maureen headed to the other end with a shot this
Normal?
big.
You're not going to lose any time by staying up there and agreeing. Rather than standing on each end of the sheet and just shouting, they're losing just as much time. So it might just be better to stay up there and actually see what the situation's like.
And I think you have to treat this shot like a Skip would, their last shot of an end to score big points. And Skip would talk it over and be comfortable with it when they went to the other end.
Whoa.
So I don't like the going to the other, not being completely sure what you're going to throw. Will she get lucky and get this way? Yes, for 4.
Wow.
That was there.
Yeah.
That was the triple I was talking about.
That was the triple, and this time for 4 points.
The
for
double for 4.
USA. Really taking the game to a closer one now, 5 shots to 7. It's not often you see that type of score in a regular curling game after 4 ends. See the scoreboard right there. 4 ends and half of the game has been played. Players will have a short break, so will we, and we will be right back with highlights from the first half of the game.
Well, it's been a seesaw battle with no shortage of scoring here in the first end. Claudia Tot had a tap for 5, trying to move a red stone just enough for 5. She won't quite do that, but she will make it well enough to secure 4. So the Austrians open with 4 points in the very first end.
4.
In the second end, Claudia Tot on her last stone left a bit of an angle for the Americans. They hit it a little low side though, but were able to remove the yellow shot rock and score 1. So after 2 ends, it was 4-1 for the Austrians. In the third end, the Austrians played a peel earlier on Christian Roth's shot. Claudia Tot had this hit for 3, open hit, curls across a bit, but hits it well enough to score 3, taking a commanding 7-1 lead. But in the fourth end, the Americans battled back in a number of good shots and leaving Maureen Stolt with this shot for 4. She almost overcurled, but rolled onto that catcher and scored 4. So as we head to the break, it was 7-5 for the Americans, and as we start this fifth end, 7-5 for the Austrians. Americans bouncing back with a big 4-ender in the fourth end. Now we're back to live action.
A lot of action, 2 people standing around in that house. But here we
Here's
start.
The action.
Here's the action. Maureen Stolt with a traditional first come around freeze. We see this in pretty much every end of mixed doubles. Not touching this though, and we've said it so many times before, you don't want to be deep.
She's heavy, and the line isn't especially agreeable either.
Maybe just a lot of adrenaline from that last stone she played that scored them that 4.
Yeah, they did have the break, and they probably needed to use that time to gather themselves a bit. They got themselves back in the game. Of course, also, sometimes the ice is a touch quicker after the midway mop, and maybe she was fooled a bit by that.
Claudia Tot saying this one is maybe a bit short, but she seems to change her mind and be happy with it now. Just waiting for it to come down. She doesn't want to be deep and leave the pocket to freeze on either.
And this one has to finish as well. It's going to be deep too. They're trying to get it right around it rather than leave the pocket. Trying to tuck it behind that rock in the back of the button. The stone with the black X on it is the placed stone. So the Americans are set to try the same shot that they tried on their first, only now with 2 counters in the rings for the Austrians.
Well, if they make this, they could make sure that none of them will count, so maybe not. It doesn't matter as much if it's 1 or 2.
I think we could safely call it a draw after those first 2 shots of this end. Peter Stolt sweeping it a bit for line. I think it looks like he has plenty of weight passing right in front of us here at the Grant Harvey Center. That rock has some curling to do. I don't think it needed any brushing either. He's going to move that yellow off the button, but leave his behind the tee as well.
And just a big bundle behind the tee line here soon. Austria asking the question, do we want to move the red or do we want to start controlling the front of the house?
I'd certainly favor a peel here if I was Austria.
Would seem like a sensible call.
You might even be able to make the peel and pick out that other red stone. I think with this shot, you're going to leave the Americans with another freeze to get out of the end. Of course, as we discovered last night, we never miss up here, but do occasionally miss when we're out on the ice.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So taps this instead.
It sits 2 now. I think the Americans could play a hit and roll here, at least get rid of 1 and probably leave their stone in a good spot, or they could just play the freeze. That's the shot that Maureen Stolt is indicating there.
Or we can come the other way.
And that's the other shot that Peter Stolt is indicating there.
The reality is they really don't need us here in the webcast, do they, Sarah? We can just sit back and let them explain the situation.
I do think we add a bit of colour.
I would hope.
Out-turn draw for Peter Stolt. He gets to play the one that he suggests.
Peter Stolt with a bit of the handshake finish.
Quite a posh handshake.
A posh one, yeah, more posh than the one at the handshake finish we saw the other night.
It's close. 7-8.
I'll be sure to inform Peter that you consider his handshake posh.
Billy just kind of lifts his hand right up.
Yeah.
It's a pretty well-placed stone.
Good call.
That's going to be tough to move out of there, but it certainly can move it back enough to sort of make a 2 an opportunity here for the Austrians. Now they're going to look at the peel. I think they peeled one shot too late.
But still maybe not a bad idea. They've got 3 stones lying around the rings now.
That's true. Peel on its way. As we usually see here in mixed double, people aren't chasing peels. And he's going to miss that and take out 2 yellows and a red.
Open up the scoring area and leaving that red in quite a good position, though.
For Austria, tucked right behind their own. It's as if theirs is almost frozen. Well, not quite frozen on it, but just in front of it. So they're looking at an angle on it.
Is a little bump on that good, Marine? So like freeze?
They could also just play the straight come around here. The out-turn come around. And
they could.
If they were a little bit high side, even if they showed a bit on the with the out-turn side, it would jam on the. If they were high enough in the rings and just in the top 4, it would jam on the Austrian stone. But they've elected to play this corner freeze, which is probably a trickier shot with less margin for error.
And this one needs to curl. Peter calling it a bit heavy. I think it's even more than 7-8, which should be T-line.
I think 7-8 is a little optimistic. They will lie the Americans now 2 and 3, but neither in a particularly great position. They're talking about the peel again. I don't know if the peel is a shot here now.
No, Christian doesn't really seem to agree with that. He's going to come down.
Come down and talk about it. I think talking about it in the rings in the end saves time over yelling from the other end. And just as I watch Maureen Stolt head to the other end, this is one where I think she can hang around at least at the hog line or so, and then go to the other end if the shot call is really obvious. I did have someone suggest on Twitter to me that they thought maybe as this game evolves, we could consider, or the powers that be could consider, reducing the amount of time you get to play even more, really putting teams in a serious time crunch in this game. Might add yet another element of manic excitement.
I think what's really important with what you're suggesting, Dean, with staying in the house is we have actually seen teams yelling from the far end of the sheet and then missing stones, and you just realize it's a communication error.
Yes,
the person in the hack isn't throwing the weight that the person in the house is expecting, and so rather than thinking about are we losing 20 seconds of time, you want to make sure that you actually give yourself the opportunity of making the shots.
Yeah, we saw Sweden do that today. They came down and I think
they were just surprised by what the other person had thrown.
Elizabeth in the house was expecting back line, and Frederick had thought they were thinking about board. So this is the shot I like here.
Yeah,
that's the shot I would have liked to see the Americans play.
It's really well played by Christian Roth as well.
Now the Americans can get out of it with the freeze still.
They can.
It's not an easy freeze, is it? And you have to get to nose. If you leave it, a little bit high side, it's a fairly routine hit for 2. And you might even be able to, might line it up so it's a hit for more than that, but no, I don't think so. But this is a tough freeze because a sliver of the rock is buried, so you have to get almost as close to nose as you can, which means you have to get awfully close to bouncing off the yellow stone that's in the top 4 foot.
And you really can't wreck on that one. I don't think wrecking is going to be a problem.
No, they might want to sweep it. Yeah, they're going to sweep it and try to come off the red, I think. That was a good call by Peter, because that was dead if they didn't make it that way. So they ended up with a terrific shot. They chiseling off their red on the 8-foot and rolling almost frozen. I don't know if they could have gotten it there better with the clean draw.
No, great call by Peter.
And he committed to it early enough that the sweeping did hold it.
Ja, schau, dass genug Kraft hat, dass den auch rauskriegt.
So,
Wenn ich ihn halb treffe, dann schreiben wir zumindest einen. Wenn ich ihn halb treffe, dann schreiben wir zumindest einen, oder? Ja, wobei. Ich muss ihn schon wenig treffen, ja.
Claudia says she's gonna throw enough weight at this to squeeze it out.
There is some separation, but it will take a significant amount of weight to squeeze it out. It's like, because it's actually a little bit on the wrong side for her to squeeze it out.
Yeah, she's gonna need to throw a hard one here and hit it thin.
Have you seen Claudia throw it hard?
I haven't, but I've only seen her play a couple of games. So I'm not gonna doubt her ability. She seems pretty confident.
I did deduce the throw it hard comment, but I heard nothing of Liechtenstein in that exchange, so I'm improving.
You're improving because you're not hearing
Yes,
Liechtenstein?
not hearing things.
I think we might need to send you on a language course.
I would love that.
Last stone of the fifth end.
Is the weight
Big
at it.
weight, thin double for Claudia Todt.
Chasing after it. She is getting after the peels. I mean, there's an example. She's got the peel halfway down. She's close to... No, I don't think that was there. I don't know if you could have caught that thin enough to move it. I mean, perhaps Nicholas Edin could have thrown it hard enough to catch a sliver and squirt it out the side, but...
So after 5, it's just a 1-point lead for Austria. They were up 7-0, and now it's 7-6.
Starting to think the World Curling Federation wants to ensure that we always work a full game. So even when teams jump out to early leads, can always expect comebacks. I think that's the format. Yeah, Sarah, you want to update us on the other sheets?
Definitely. Japan still has, Japan has a 1-point lead over Denmark. Score there is 5-4. Denmark has the hammer in the 6th end. Australia and Slovenia. Slovenia up 7-1. And finally, New Zealand is really taking a grip on France. They are up 8-0. France with hammer in the 5th end, and it looks like they've got slash to score 1, 2, or 3, depending on how they hit this. We'll update you on that in a moment.
That rock's on its way on the adjacent sheet, and on our feature game, Maureen Stoltz rock is on her way. We'll watch Maureen Stoltz go in one direction and the French stone go in the other.
And the French stone will just slide by, meaning New Zealand will steal another, taking it to a 9-0 lead over there.
Maureen Stoltz rock may not slide by, but it will bounce off slightly.
Yeah, she's not been 100% on those.
Just a little heavy when on a shot that being 3 feet short is certainly a better play than even 6 inches heavy. But the Americans have battled back nicely here. And we're locked in a tight game.
Liking the weight here. Christian is out to sweep as well.
Told us how much he enjoys sweeping. I don't know if he plays front end or third. I'm going to assume front end if he enjoys sweeping that much.
Do you enjoy sweeping?
I do enjoy sweeping, actually. I think in traditional curling, if you think about it, you spend a lot of time thinking about throwing the rock, but with 8 stones and sweeping 6, you're 75% of what you contribute is your sweeping if you're playing front end. Peter Stolt.
Coming around the intern side.
Working hard on this one.
It's really curling over here.
Really tight line, but he's by the high guard.
Question is, will he be by the yellow? And that's a no. He will chip off that one. But leaves his shooter in a very usable spot.
Probably not a bad result. The Austrians, though, could lie at least 2 here.
Meiner war relativ gerade.
Certainly start to set up a nice house. If they can get this right on the straight back, push the red a little bit back, sit there with their shooter.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
That doesn't sound like a promising whoa, whoa, whoa.
Heckway, oder?
No, she believes it's really heavy, and so does Christian.
He's backing off this one.
Looks like it's curling though.
Yeah, but going to push it over there. Not
in an ideal spot.
Not at all. I mean, the Americans can tap up the one that Peter threw on his previous shot, or they can play the straight freeze. Tap right into the pocket. Marine suggesting back 4. Peter likes the tap. Interesting, Peter is staying at the other end and then going down for his shots. That's a little more complicated. I'm going to stick with the stay halfway or 3/4 of the way down.
So no matter what you do, they can't make you happy.
Exactly. No. I do like that they're discussing them a little bit more. I think your point about making sure you make the shot is as important as rushing to the hack to make it, if not more important. Peter with a backswing delivery. Of course, we don't see that a whole lot anymore, except among some of the very best curlers like Glenn Howard and a few others. He uses it on every shot, though, not just when he needs weight, like we see Thomas Ulsrud and some others do. Got to stay on the high side of this one. Well,
still a very good result.
It is a good result. It's a little unfortunate that his shooter rolled under that center line guard, so he can't use that for another one, but just needed to stay a little more high side with that.
Ich glaube, wir können nicht viel anderes machen, als hier reinzuspielen. Nur mit einer Achterlänge. Muss nach innen.
Christian Roth in the hack. I like the fact that Christian's curling shoes have a certain alpine feel to them. I think it's good for Austria.
Whoa, whoa. Noch weit außen.
Well, it's always good to make yourself feel like home and comfortable.
Wie ist die Länge? Muss viel curlen. Whoa, sieht schneller aus.
Austria are getting themselves in some trouble. They were looking so good, but USA just fought back and they haven't really answered.
This is not a comfortable position, and I don't think they'll be shot after this.
I think they are.
Yes, just shot with the place stone at the back, but there's still definitely opportunities here for the Americans. If they can chisel this red right under the button, it's not going to go anywhere for 2 shots.
It's just tough. He just played a really difficult shot and he made it really well, and it's still just not lying that good for them.
I think just chisel this one over.
It's going to be harder to keep the angle to hit it thin, I think.
Peter doesn't like the chisel. Let's see what he does like.
If we hit it, we might lose. I don't know how much we're going to.
He's talking about throwing with normal weight. much as I favor hitting a lot more than some of the competitors
Play
do.
real light. Okay, we can try that. Just a little more weight, just real thin. Have the shooter go over here.
Yeah, I'd like to just see this with back 4. What do you like here, Sarah? Do you like that?
I like whatever you like, Dean. No, I agree. You don't need to make these yellow go away. They're not threatening. They're not a threat. If you can just lock one on there, what's Austria going to do? They can't. The slash isn't really going to do them any good.
Moving the back yellows is only to Austria's advantage at this point, I think. So I'd like to see him just try to chisel that red on, and it's a real steal opportunity if he can do that.
Chisel just sounds like some sort of dance move to me.
Chisel.
It's not a word in my vocabulary, but I think I'm going to start using it. I like it.
There you go. It's a woodworker's tool there, Sarah. So just needs to get a sliver of it, I guess. How's that?
Just stay with chisel. I like it.
All right, just going to chisel it over. It's got hack, though, which is a lot of weight in my mind, but although he's going to try to hit it really thin. Just needs a small piece of it. Come up, they're saying.
They're saying or you're saying, and
well,
that's a nice
that's
shot.
That's exactly as I drew it up.
You're going to take the credit now.
Might have thrown it with a little less weight, but that worked beautifully. There's the chisel and the result.
Right on the pin.
I wanted to see how that would work. And that is at least, 2 shots to get that out of there. They're going to try to angle that yellow onto it, which is a pretty good play because that might make it spill it out the side.
Yeah, they're going to need the yellow to stick there, though.
They will be able to move the red. They should be able to move it to at least the edge of the forefoot. It's going to catch the stationary stone and spin up a bit, I imagine, if he's throwing this with some weight.
I think he would be.
Yeah. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yep, roll call. Does have to hit it thin. Must have in-outed this a little bit, I think.
Oh, yes, he probably did.
That's why the initial call was for sweeping, and then he must have popped it just a little bit. They really needed to rearrange the house there and get some action, even if they didn't end up shot after that, just to have some action on those rocks. I'm not sure how Claudia Toth is going to be able to score with her last one now. Americans are sort of playing with fire in this end, but are now in a great position to steal.
If Maureen Stoltz closes this side down, how does Austria score?
I don't think they can score if she takes this away, and even if she doesn't, it's tough to be shot after this.
Just clean, line's fine, over and up. Over and up.
Might be over curling just a bit, since Peter's saying over and up. It is going to over curl a bit, I think. Is it good enough to take away that?
Good shot.
I don't even know if that shot is 4-1 though.
No. It looks like it's still there. If it's 4-1.
I mean, the amount that Claudia Toth can see is about all that she can hit of it anyways.
Vi ligger nog fix second, gell?
I mean, they might be able to squirt it out the top, but I don't think that
She's
other...
going to need to throw some more weight probably than she did with her previous peel.
I mean, there is a way, I guess, that you could squirt the red that's on the button out the top, stick the one you hit into the middle there, and possibly count 2. But that would be a tremendous shot. Let's see if it can be made.
But they're
No,
not
they're
doing
not going
that.
to try that.
Are they just throwing this away then?
guess they may be, because if they do anything to that configuration in the back, you know, they could also give up 2 in a hurry. So they're going to throw this away.
And we're going to have a tied game.
7-7 after 6 ends.
Who could see that coming?
And really, the Americans now in the control position by scoring in the 6th end. They take it's a tie game heading into the 7th. The Americans, no matter what, will have hammer in the 8th. So they've really mounted quite a comeback here. Now the Austrians have to regroup. Always a challenge, isn't it, Sarah, when you get way ahead in the curling game and let the other team back in? You really have, at some point, have to just check yourself and remind yourself that you're just in a close curling game and you have as good a chance to win a close game as anything else.
Yeah, definitely. You just need to look at the scoreboard and tell yourself that. It's so easy to kind of already feel defeated when you've given up that amount of points. But let's hope that the 2 players in each team can help each other stay focused on the right thing.
Looks like Peter Stoltz going to take care of setting up the guard. Sarah, will you update us on scores in the other sheets?
Of course. Japan has gotten back on Denmark. They are leading that game 6-4. Denmark has hammer in the 7th end. Australia, Slovenia. Slovenia is leading that game 7-5, even though Australia took a 4 in the 5th end. And finally, France, New Zealand. France finally scored 1, but they're still down 9-1 over there.
And they're in the 7th end. New Zealand, real quickly, Hans Frauenlob is also playing in the seniors. Same time as this event is underway, the seniors in the adjacent arena.
2 world championships in 1 week.
It's a busy week. They do have a 5-man team in the seniors as well, though, so perhaps he's not playing every game in the seniors.
And laughing now from USA.
Certainly see a decided shift in the body language from one team to the other. The Austrians were playing so well early in the game.
Well, you've kind of seen them change their tactics too. They were peeling guards earlier in the game to open things up, and then they were just stuck with all of those freezes and stones in the back. Forefoot.
And peeling that guard, you know, resulted in a really routine 3 and really paid dividends for them. That's a great shot there, though.
Yeah, got some really good line, really close to the guard.
Chips the American stone to the back of the forefoot. Leaves their stone on the top of the button. And saves the placed rock in the back 8-foot. Biting the back 4.
Just freeze. Top 8, top 4.
See Peter Stoltz's accuracy, or his percentage for the entire tournament. He's 69% for the 4 games they've played so far. A little below what I think is 75% seems to be the bellwether of good play, of consistent play. Just for comparison's sake, the top male players in the event so far are Martin Rios of Switzerland and Bruce Mowat of Scotland are both at 86%.
And now Claudia is talking about peeling the guard again. It's not set up great for Austria with that freeze by Peter Stolt.
Of course, in this end, they really do need, I think you really have to figure out how to get your 2. Christian Roth also at 69% for the event.
That's polite. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Thank you.
Nothing wrong with being polite.
Definitely not.
Yeah, right in the nose, huh? Normal to firm.
In the game we did earlier today, we had this similar scenario, tied up playing the 7th end. Sweden took 1. And then held Norway to 1 in the 8th end and then 1 in the extra end.
So do you think we're going to get some more stats on whether you want to be up without hammer or down with?
Yeah, I think all that recounting the earlier game just may have shown that it's not entirely necessary to take a deuce here. Exchange singles and win in the extra, of course. A lot of ways to win or lose a curling game, aren't there?
So many ways. Well, essentially, you're going to win if you score more than the other team.
That is the one rule that has been consistent throughout the game. But so they hit half a rock there, lose their shooter, spill the Austrian stone out the side. Fairly open end here for mixed doubles right now. 3 rocks in the rings, and that's all.
And now Claudia Todt is asking for the freeze. Christian's just going to come down and have a look.
Aber das ist gefährlich.
The Austrians have 11 minutes and 45 seconds left. The Americans have 10 minutes and 15 seconds left.
Should be fine.
Ich glaube nicht, dass sie gar nicht.
Yep.
Ich glaube, sie hauen immer, weil er noch dran ist. Alles, was da ist, ist super. Ja?
So they're going to play the freeze here. They could also hit and roll off the top red. What do you like, Dean?
Well, I mean, the top red is problematic, that's for sure. But I think I think it's early enough in the end that the freeze is a good call. They could also just push that top red back, with no guards in play, and if they want to try to build for a simple deuce, they could push that red back, create a wall the old-fashioned way, pre-free guard zone, so that people would build offense without guards, and still have an easy shot to at least score 1.
Going for line here.
Sort of half tuck it. Of course, that to me looks like it leaves a double. If they want it. I think if the Austrians had tapped the red stone that's in the top 4, what do you think of that, Sarah? Tap that one back.
Yeah, create a little wall.
Create a wall, even if you're still third shot after it. Have a wall in the back with yours up top, and it would seem that it'd be a fairly risk-free way to try to get a deuce.
We're going to see a timeout here, though.
Yeah, we are, and we'll see Coach Lanita Delaney of the Team USA make her way out.
Still going. Oh, there. Follow him down. What do you think? Yeah, we can play the double. It just seemed like a little bit of risk if we don't get it right.
Just don't throw the 5. You want to just throw the other rock?
That's true. You can also play the freeze.
Yeah, I mean, if we follow him down. I mean, I was thinking this could be good too if we get a little tap.
Then you're playing the weight and
Yeah.
Here's a guard and you've got the freeze.
We're 2 and 3.
Either one of those is a good shot, whichever one you feel comfortable
You like
with.
bumping the hair?
Keeping them to 1 or 2
Right.
I guess I like the freeze
The,
are a little
actually, the double's okay. We just, the pro side is outside.
right.
I don't mind going for that double.
Whichever one you like, it's both good shots.
You like the double? They're not moving very hard, right? So let's go here, like just normal. So, yeah. So a little less than I just threw.
I'm with Peter here. I favor the double. Make the double, and Austria will be really hard-pressed to score 2. If you start to just move rocks back or play freezes, bigger end can come into play.
Looked a bit tight out of his hand.
It's not, as he said, you certainly don't want to miss it on the low side, so obviously, for obvious reasons. Oh, that. I don't know if I'd even sweep that one if I was Christian Rott, but that was not the greatest of results for the Americans. To get rid of one. But now the Austrians can have a fairly straightforward 2 here. Maureen Stolt has the will be throwing the last rock for the Americans. They only have 1 to come, so the Austrians need 2 well-executed takeouts and roll to a place that makes it double difficult here, and they should have their 2.
Yeah, this is where Christian played the hit and roll earlier. He didn't roll quite as far as they wanted, but they should now know the way to throw it. Claudia was woeing that as well. Need to roll.
Also don't want to roll out.
No, they don't want to do that. But they will.
So now, Americans with a chance to get out of this. Slash this out. It doesn't... the Austrians are forced to take 1 no matter what, so you don't really have to... Unlike traditional curling where you might want to save your shooter here in order to force your opponent to take 1. Here you're going to force them if you just remove this.
Hurry! Hurry!
Call was for sweeping. Maureen said it was a little up, which might be good since you need to go on it. Oh dear. Oh.
Oh, and she'll stick it.
Jammed it back there. And leaves
Opportunity back again for Austria.
Claudia Topp with a chance to hit this with some with about board weight, save her shooter and score 2. Saw Peter Stolt throw right in the same path. I think she can hit anywhere from 3/4 to 7/8 of a rock and make this.
Yep. Control. Yep.
Out of control.
Need to get it past the back one. And I don't think she has.
Say.
Gonna take a 1-point lead into the 8th and final end of the game, or possibly final end of the game.
We've already had 1 extra end game today. Will we see another?
It's not impossible.
Or will the Stoltz be able to manufacture a score of 2 or more to win this game for the USA? So this has been a game of wild momentum shifts, even from end to end and rock to rock. So now Claudia Topp will be able to redeem herself here. Not remove herself.
Well, that would be a terrible result for them.
She might feel like after missing that last stone that she'd like to remove herself from the game.
Well, she should just have a look at the scoreboard and see that it might be important for her to stick around.
And it's not an option in mixed doubles. You cannot have a substitution. So if one of your players can't go, if they've come down with some sort of plague, they have to get out there.
That's a nice comeback for you, Dean. Making it into explaining the rules.
Yeah, any chance I get any opportunity to explain some of the mixed doubles rules, I'll take that.
So Austria might be looking at trying to steal this end, so this first stone is going to be really important for them, and
And speaking of redeeming herself, I think she just did.
really happy she stuck around.
Back 4, back 8.
She did stick around for this end. Did not remove herself. And made a great shot. Now, Maureen Stolt will have to answer that one. I think if she's going to want to try to move it a little bit, create some separation between that yellow, the Austrian yellow stone, and her red, the American red stone.
If you were at USA, would you consider just playing the tick here and try and create 2 corner guards?
Yeah, I think that's certainly an option. I mean, you only need 2 here. You don't need, you don't need the 4s and 3s we've seen. So she might end up doing that anyways. But don't want to just rub it. Oh, you don't want to do that though.
No, by creating 2 corner guards there, it certainly served them well. Now with the center guard and everything's just going to come down the center line, the scoring area is going to be really small, and scoring too might become difficult.
I think this is definitely considering this. If this shot is made, I think the Americans should definitely consider peeling, because I do believe it's important in this scenario, in traditional curling or in mixed doubles, to at least leave yourself the chance to score 1 to tie the game. And of course, in mixed doubles, a steal is more likely than it is in traditional curling. So if you can go to an extra, and even if you do have to steal, you have a better chance of winning than you would under normal curling rules. So he's locked another one in there. They peel the guard, and the Austrians try to peel a single rock. That's we can see a little bit of it, so maybe he's thinking he can get some separation here. Spill one a little bit.
Can we get them all moving?
Well, you can get them all moving, but I don't think that one in the middle is going to move for much more than a nanosecond.
Now we'll let you count for how long it moves.
So
What we do know is that Peter Stolt need to get stones moving. He's not throwing a lot of weight.
no, not a real bomb. It's certainly not peel. It's more like normal. I think peel might have been the way to go. Might peel the guard anyways. They don't want to just tick the guard. Definitely want to make sure they punch it right over.
Well, that's an okay result. I think we're going to see Austria keeping, just replacing that now, though. Just
Right.
try and guard their weight to the win.
And they are trying to guard a single stone, which is difficult. As we discussed in previous webcasts, it's difficult to guard a previous stone on this kind of ice at any time, and it's even harder when you don't have 2 sweepers maybe to hold it out and manage it a little bit more.
Hat die Länge, glaube ich. Wow, wow.
Challenging and requires some nerves to make it. Trying to have it finish up just a little bit. It's a very nice guard, actually. Does show a little bit perhaps on the side that could be advantageous to the Americans, but they're not really looking at it.
Trying to catch the pile with it?
See, here's I'm not so sure they're on the same page about drilling it into the pile versus just a straight peel. Would be nice to hit it on the high side and not just enough to move some of those rocks in around the button. Well,
Did move, but still looking really difficult for USA. And I think he even left the guard up there, so maybe Austria can get it double guarded.
yeah, there will be something to hit of yellow, no matter what kind of guard they throw, but
And maybe that red could be run in
could be run in the red.
to make a double in the house and score 1 that way. Christian Roth is really just trying to kill this game.
So
This is his final stone.
his final stone. His teammate Claudia Tot will have one more stone after this. She's pleading with it to sit. Now they can certainly see enough of that yellow on the top of the forefoot to hit into the pile and at least move the yellow that's almost on the button far enough over to give Maureen a chance in her last
We run
one.
that, we do the same thing and keep that one right there. Yeah, it's a thick half.
2 stones left to play for USA.
Can they not see enough of this, the yellow with the out turn to go through that hole
I think they can.
and catch it? Have they looked at that? They may not need the run right now.
No, if they can just roll and use it as a corner guard instead.
Yeah, it looks to me like they could, even if they come and almost hit that one, the yellow that's almost on the button, the midway yellow, hit that 3/4, it's going to spill a fair distance. I don't know if they've really looked at that, because it's a much easier shot than this. And actually the angles would be better. Nonetheless, this shot's on the way. Not touching it.
Well, sit right there, and with that angle's probably not going to help them a whole lot.
See if the Austrians realize to take that away.
Dann stellen wir links und hinten.
They could just guard and make it really difficult for the Americans to score.
Den zieht er nur die Hälfte, den nicht beide. Bleibt immer der liegen. Oder? Wenn er hier trifft. Der bleibt immer. Er kann über den vorne gehen, aber das Doppel ist immer schwer. Komm, wir legen ein bisschen hin.
So now the Austrians, I believe, are going to take away the shot that you and I would have liked to have seen played on the last
Ja,
one.
machen wir das. Je nachdem, also hier oder hier. Okay? Hier wäre lieber nur 2. Ha?
Is it possible to even make a play on that red
Ja, ein bisschen weniger, die Seite ist gerader.
to score one?
I don't believe it is, the way the yellows are staggered.
So
I think the red just
they're
bounces off.
maybe going to need to try and play some sort of triple on the other side to score one.
They might have to, all they might have left is either run this guard in that Claudia Tot is going to try to place, and if she tucks it a little bit, they might have to run in the original placed guard on the far right-hand side. Or they could also run in the guard that's just touching the center line now and clip that top one.
Nur 2, 3.
So 2-3, quite a high guard.
This might be over curling.
Yeah.
It definitely hasn't changed the scenario, and I think that shot that we liked in the last is still there. Question is, can Maureen throw it with enough weight to squeeze that yellow that's almost biting
Yeah,
the
I think we
button
should
out
play
the
firm.
side?
Just a little up from normal, though. You don't need a ton.
I think you do need a ton.
I would concur that you need. There's no harm in throwing this pretty hard. You're going to have to squirt that one out the side.
Chisel.
No, there's no chisel here, Sarah.
All right, sorry. So I haven't even understand it. I just like to say it.
I think if she hits what she can see with weight, it should go far enough that the red rock that's in the 8-foot should be the stone that counts and ties the game.
Yep, you're going to need more than normal.
Yeah, I mean, those rocks are almost locked, so I think peel would be the call here.
You're standing up and saying it really loud, hoping that she hears you.
No, I'm not. I'm taking no sides in this game. Well, I'm strictly a commentator here.
Yeah, right.
despite my American citizenship.
And she did give it a fair bit of weight.
And gave it
Last
a
stone
little-
of the 8th end.
Unfortunately, it looked like a real in-out action, though, with it.
Ooh.
Slid a little tight and popped it out to the broom. It's not going to come back with that weight.
Yeah, straight by. Austria picks up the win.
In a seesaw battle that saw the Americans battle back to get in the game and then lose on last stone. We'll have highlights from this matchup coming up, along with Sarah's interview with the winning Austrian team. There's your final line score. Austria 10, USA 7. A couple of 4s, one for each team, a 3, and a deuce to finish it. Here are the highlights from the second half of this game. A game that Austria led at 1 point 7 to 1 and 5. U.S. will end up stealing 1 here. As Claudia Tott tried to squeeze out that red, I don't think that shot was really there. Left 1 American stone, the frozen one. In the 6th end, the U.S. will steal again when Claudia Tott elects just to throw this one away with that American rock welded on the button. And in the 7th end, the Austrians bounce back with it and score 1 here, but had a chance for 2. Jammed it on that back. Just score 1 to take an 8-7 lead into the 8th end. In the 8th end, though, Maureen Stolt left with a thin double in order to try to squeeze those out and make that counter and that red one count for the Americans. She failed to do so. 2 for the Austrians. And a 10-7 win for Austria in a seesaw battle. Our interview with the Austrians, Claudia Tott and Christian Roth. Sarah Carlson will be handling that. That's on the way, so stay tuned for that. Thank you.
Exciting game and an important win. What can you tell us about the game?
We had a nice start in the first half. So first, a really good first end. So we scored 3.
4 actually.
4 actually. I couldn't remember. I'm sorry. And then second end, we forced 1 for him. Scored 4 back, and so we had a really nice start in the first half. Second half, they had pretty good shots that we have some troubles to make 1, and they steal 1 for 1. But at the end, so we cut it to our side and bring them back home.
You seem to be opting for peeling the center guard. How do you think you benefit from that?
Well, especially when we were up 7-1, and with Hammer we tried to keep it open a bit because we thought they had really good draw weight and benefited from drawing around the guard, and we just wanted them to have a few hits and harder angle hits. So that's why we tried it. It didn't always work, but I think in some of the ends it was really for our benefit to open things up a bit.
Definitely. And finally, USA did bounce back in the game. What did you say to each other to regroup before the final end?
Well, I pretty much said we were in control the whole time, or we felt like we were in control the whole time. They had some really good shots that got them back into the game, but I never felt like we were losing it or anything, so our confidence was up the whole time, and we were just confident that we could steal in the last end.
Well, great. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.